Hello and welcome to the NIFA Hour on Popcorn Talk Network. We're very excited to bring you this month's course syllabus. We'll be discussing adaptations, how to choose the right special effects for your film, and the future of YouTube Red. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Nice. Hi guys, welcome. I'm Joelle Monique.
And I'm Pegah.
And we're so excited to bring you the very first New York Film Academy Hour, where we're going to be bringing you guys each week guests to teach you mini master classes in your living room.
Cannot wait for that. I'm taking notes every week.
Me too. I'm so excited. We're going to learn a whole bunch here. We've got great guests for you this month, including Bart Masterdoni, who did the Tales of Edgar Allan Poe, which I believe you can watch on Netflix right now. Rich Thorne, who's special effects extraordinaire. He's done everything from The Little Mermaid coming up, which I'm so excited to see, to Fight Club and Alien vs. Predator. And then, of course, Michael J. Gallagher,
yes,
who, if you guys are here on YouTube, you know us, you know them. He's done The Thinning and Smiley Face for YouTube Red. So we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about what the current climate of Hollywood on those subjects. Adaptations, special effects, and, of course, YouTube Red.
Nice. So much to talk about.
Yes.
So exciting.
So let's just dive right in. I want to talk to you guys first about adaptations, which Hollywood's got this kind of crazy storm of adaptations right now.
Yeah, there's so many sequels, especially right now, that they're all just coming from adaptations.
Prequels and post-prequel sequels.
Yeah.
But the really kind of exciting figurehead in Hollywood right now is randomly a chick from the 20s.
Zelda Fitzgerald,
yes.
you say?
Yes, absolutely. The first flapper? Yes, her husband, F. Scott Fitzgerald, coined her as the first American flapper. And now she's got 3 projects coming out,
That's
which is
crazy.
kind of exciting.
I heard about that. So there's one coming out with Christina Ricci on Amazon.
Which the pilot is out right now. You guys can check it out. It's fabulous. I watched it a couple of nights
you?
ago. It's a lot of fun. It's dramatic and thrilling, and it's dealing with kind of the what happens after women just get their rights and what do they do next.
Ooh.
And I think the tagline is "Good girls don't get ahead" or something like that, which is a lot of fun because, you know, they kind of don't sometimes.
Right.
So it'll be fun to see the original Bad Girl on Amazon in a TV show, which I think is really unique.
Good. Do you know how many episodes?
I believe the first season will be 10. And we'll see if they get a second.
Nice.
Amazon is pretty good about picking up their seasons. They let you vote on the pilots, which if you guys haven't done, Amazon's pilot season is so much fun. They release all of their shows at once, and then you can vote. And if it gets enough votes, they will do an entire season.
No way.
Yeah.
So it's really user focused.
Yeah, well, not just user focus, but making sure that your opinions are heard. And I think that they're taking a lot of what happens on Twitter when people talk to the showrunners as the show is going on. And then a lot of writers' rooms have their own Twitter accounts now. So I think they're really kind of jumping ahead of that. I mean, like, oh, well, you control the content we release, which I think is fun.
That is awesome. And then the second 2 we have with Jennifer Lawrence, right? That one's called The Beautiful and the Damned. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the one with Scarlett Johansson. What's
Jennifer Lawrence one is just Zelda.
Just Zelda.
Yeah,
okay.
and it's based off a book by the same with the same title. So, Nancy Milford wrote the book. And then we have one with Scarlett Johansson, and that one's called The Beautiful and the Damned. So I think it's kind of interesting, the comparisons here. First of all, the fact we have 2 like huge A-list celebrities going up to do these movies says a lot about the status and what kind of people are currently interested in.
And sorry, Ron Howard is attached, isn't he, to the one with Jennifer Lawrence, which is huge. I mean,
one of the producers from Hunger Games picked up the project, and then Ron Howard got involved, and right now he's just producing, but it seems like he's going to direct it. I mean, it's a pretty Ron Howard picture.
It totally is.
Grand biopic epic. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did sign on to direct as well.
Right.
Yeah, and so what her project is really interesting. Emma Frost, who also wrote The White Queen, is writing the script for this one, so I'm excited. We've got a woman writing about a woman who was writing before women were really doing that, successfully, continually. And hers, the Jennifer Lawrence project, seems to be a little more, how should we say, tame, at least in the information that we have now. I don't believe they've even started filming yet. But the information right now is like Zelda, the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so kind of the grand, more flappery appeal.
Right.
Which is cool. If you saw...
would you say more like blockbustery?
I definitely get that feeling. And again, it's a Ron Howard pick, so you'll have your dark moments, but in the same vein of Forrest Gump, I'm sure at the end we're going to have this like harrowing, kind of beautiful, uplifting thing. No, I'm excited to see her in this role, especially because Jennifer Lawrence, for me, she's picked a lot of roles that aren't necessarily age appropriate. Like, I was kind of like, Joy, like, she's 49 in that. And
she's 49 in Joy?
That is how old she's supposed to be. Like, she's in her mid-40s. And I'm like, you look at your fresh 20-year-old face.
Right.
And not that she didn't do an amazing job. She got nominated for the Oscar for it. But to see her here in a young woman's role, especially Zelda Fitzgerald suffered from schizophrenia and had, like, a lot of drinking issues, but also she was traveling the world and writing these amazing books. She published one book, but she has a lot of writing. So yeah, I'm excited to see the Jennifer Lawrence in this role.
Definitely want to see the crazy Jennifer Lawrence come out in this role.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we can compare that to the Scarlett Johansson one. Scarlett Johansson is doing The Beautiful and the Damned, which is based off of a title from an F. Scott Fitzgerald book, The Beautiful Damned.
It just sounds darker, right there.
Yeah, the title holds a lot of weight to it. But it's going to be exciting because this one focuses more on the aspects of her writing and what F. Scott Fitzgerald might have stolen from her. This film also got the rights from the estate, which is exciting because the Fitzgerald estate is like, yes, please make this movie. And most importantly, they're giving her access to documents from when Zelda was in the sanitarium. So she wrote these letters and a bunch of different things when she was hospitalized at the end of her life. Yeah, she's got a crazy life. She actually died in the sanitarium at the age of like 48, I believe, due to a fire. She was drug-induced, not a coma, but she was couldn't move a lot, and they were going to give her electroshock therapy.
Oh, I see.
But
so
then
they're
a
like
fire
sedating
started.
her.
Yeah, exactly. She was sedated. A fire started. She couldn't escape, and she died.
Yikes.
Yeah. So Zelda Fitzgerald, start to finish, has had this like amazing roller coaster of a life. And I love Scarlett Johansson. I don't have any. I just love her. I think she's an amazing and talented performer.
Very.
So it'll be exciting to see what she does with the role. I think they're going to be going maybe skewing a little bit older, maybe focusing a little less on the glamour of the 20s that we see a lot, and
like
more
the
on the
suffering that she went through.
Well, there's the 20s was a pretty depressed era. Like, people were not drinking because it was fun. They were trying to escape a lot of pain. You had the First World War going on, or having just ended, and people trying to get back to a regular life. So even though there was money and a lot of means, there was not a lot of happiness, which is kind of something I think movies get wrong a lot. And so to look at this kind of depressed, especially to look at mental health at that time.
Right,
which is a fascinating view. Right. And then I wanted to show you guys the trailer from the Amazon show, Z, The Beginning of Everything, which stars Christina Ricci.
I'm Scott Fitzgerald. I believe this is my desk.
Well, that depends on what you've got in that flask of yours.
We can go anywhere and do anything we want.
This place will forever be known as the place we met.
What? Are your initials so much bigger than mine, Scott Fitzgerald?
3,000 copies sold in 3 days.
This is how you arrive in New York City. He basically married the heroine of his stories.
You are a success. I will never let you fail. Those are my words from my letter. You used my words?
One can't stay on top forever.
I feel like I'm losing everything.
May I introduce Mrs. Scott Fitzgerald?
You can call me Zelda.
Zelda!
Yeah.
Oh man, you can call me Zelda. That's amazing.
That great step forward with those shoulders back. What an amazing shot, and what a great way to introduce that character.
Oh yeah.
What I like about this one is it seems like it's going to be the mid-ground from the two films. If we have a dark side of Zelda, we have the happy, champagne popping Zelda.
Right.
But
Sort
here
of
it looks
Gatsby feel.
exactly.
Yeah.
But here it seems like we're going to get a nice mix of, the fun times and also the dark times, and both aspects of her relationship, which were helping him write and supporting him in his career, but also trying to start one of her own and get out of his shadow. I'm really excited to see the rest of this series.
I'm excited that it's a series.
Yes.
That we get to come back, episode after episode and continue the story. I love that.
I also think this is a really great opportunity for those of you doing real world learning, as I call it. Not everyone goes to film school, and if you're at home and you're trying to teach yourself and get yourself out there, and if adaptation is the route that you want to go, this is a really great opportunity for you to look at how one person who really exists, life can be told in three very separate ways. And I think they'll all be successful. I mean, just looking at the teams and based off of that trailer, I think we're going to have really great stories of Zelda coming out on the media.
A great point. It's one story, but told in different lights and different angles.
Yeah.
Love that.
So it's cool. So do your studying. If you guys follow us on Twitter, which I'm not sure if we've launched our Twitter channel yet, but if not, we will soon. You guys can talk to us a little bit about what adaptations you like a lot. There are a ton of them. From Midsummer Night's Dream has a bunch of film adaptations, to the movie adaptation, which kind of explores how to do that. So tell us what you like and what you're watching. We want to hear. And maybe if you have questions for Master Donee Bart, who's going to come in and talk to us about Edgar Allan Poe, we encourage you to, write some questions for Bart too.
Yeah. Tell us what you don't like too. I'm curious to see, sometimes you read a good book and a movie just kills it.
Yes.
So let us know about those too.
Excellent. So then we wanted to talk to you guys about special effects and where the line is, because now there's kind of no rules about what we can do with special effects. Like literally anything can be done with a computer.
It's crazy. I feel like watching movies now, you can't believe anything. It's all fake.
No, truly, and even to backgrounds and mountains. I watched the special effects for Penny Dreadful, and the whole ocean like mountainscape. They were like, we just had the cobble street. Everything else was special effects. I was like, that is incredible.
Those are some of my favorite videos to watch on YouTube, like the Game of Thrones, for example. It shows you the layers that they add onto it, and you're like, they literally just had a road, a empty road.
Yeah, and so with that in mind, we want to talk about one of the most controversial special effects out right now, which happened in the new Star Wars movie, where they literally resurrected someone from the dead and put them on screen, which, just so you guys know up front, they did get the actors' estate's permission. So Peter Cushing played Grand Moff Tarkin in the original New Hope. And his storyline is so important to the initial Star Wars film that he could not be left out of Rogue One.
Okay, I get that. First of all, let me just preface this by saying I have never seen any of the Star Wars movies.
That is a cinema sin.
I know. I'm on it. It definitely is one of my New Year's resolutions is to catch up on those. But
yeah, the hubby's going to get you down to watch them, right?
Totally he is.
I love it.
Yeah. But so why not recast him? Why resurrect him? I mean, is it...
That's a really interesting question because they recast most everyone else.
That's
Mon
exactly...
Mothma was recast.
Right.
I think it's because you don't see any of those characters prior. So in A New Hope, the only character you really have is General Tarkin that's seen in the rest of these movies, other than Darth Vader, who wears a mask, so you don't have to worry about it. And then, of course, they redid Leia as well with special effects.
They made her younger.
Yeah. But Mon Mothma, who is in the third film, it was cast in the original, in episodes 1, 2, and 3, she was cast, but her scenes were cut. And so that actress wound up just aging into Mon Mothma at this time period, and they're like, okay, great, yeah, we'll recast. And they recast a lot of the pilots. I think because he was so integral to the plot and because we know his face so well, they wanted to make sure that it felt right. And they've really established, you haven't seen it, but Rogue One is established to, it ends 14 minutes before like A New Hope begins.
Oh, gotcha.
So you could, and I'm sure, and I cannot wait that they're going to release like a long edit of both movies mashed together. And I think they wanted you to be able to just go through seamlessly so that, like, the 5-year-olds just getting into Star Wars can sit down and watch it.
Or the Pegahs just getting into Star Wars.
Exactly.
Can sit down and watch it.
So I think that's the reason they wanted to honor that original look and make it easy for fans to kind of go through. It's also thrilling as a fan of Star Wars just to be like, oh my God, it's Tarkin and he's actually here and that's his face. The creators did talk a little bit about possibly having... just doing him in hologram form, which is pretty typical in Hollywood and Star Wars movies. They talked about maybe just talking around him, but I think they made the right choice in including him in the content.
So you saw it. were you distracted by the fact that it was a fake Tarkin?
You know, I was actually at the premiere, and I was a little. The applause was so loud and raucous.
see.
Just the overwhelming fan feeling of it. I had a friend who's seen the movie 5 times in theaters.
Wow.
And he says that on second viewing, the lighting is kind of weird, which actually, if I can find the quote here.
Yeah, they talked about that in this article, that the lighting of the original movie that it was in was way different than what Rogue One was.
Yeah, if you've seen Rogue One, it's much darker and kind of grittier, whereas back then is very bright and futuristic kind of looking.
So the amount of post that it took to get it to work must have been hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, so John Knoll, who's the chief creative officer at Industrial Light and Magic and Visual Effects, he's the supervisor there, and he was the supervisor on Rogue One, he called the process labor intensive. They paid extreme attention to detail. So he gave this example. He says, when Peter Cushing makes an ah sound, he doesn't move his upper lip. He only opens his jaw about halfway and makes a square shape with his lower lip. That exposes his lower teeth. So
the attention to detail, which I respect, because if you're gonna do this, you have to do it right. I mean, you have to get it spot on.
Yeah, so they hired Guy Henry to perform the role. Okay. Then he was in motion capture gear, which we saw in the photo right now. And as they were filming it, they would go in and they would look like, how does he move his face? But then they'd be like, how was he lit? So per your earlier question, how did I feel about it? I didn't really notice, but he said that my friend who saw it 5 times in theaters says that when you're looking at the lighting, you can tell. It feels a little CGI'd, and they couldn't quite 100% match original lighting to new lighting to make his face feel authentic. They did a pretty close job. As a fan, I was just excited to see it, and you can tell the work they put in it, so it doesn't really bother me that much. Right. But it does. This kind of technology can have its shortfallings. I think it was a Hollywood Reporter who or was it BuzzFeed? Those are 2 very different publications, and I should know the difference. But I know a lot of critics were like, this is sinful, how dare you?
But didn't they do this as well with Paul Walker in the last Fast and Furious?
I think that was a little different, though, because his brothers played the role. So they didn't hire someone new. His family came in and said, look, this is Paul's life, and we want to honor him in this final film. Vin Diesel, who was a huge fan of Paul and friend and brotherhood, was like, look, let's make this a grand send-off for Paul. And so they brought his brothers in to perform the role, and everyone was, and you got a ton of warning before the film came out. They were like,
tons
his
of articles
are going to be here, and we're going to CGI him, and we're going to complete this film. Whereas this was just a total shock, and it's an actor who's been dead for almost 20 years.
Right.
Over 20 years. I think he died in 94. So I think it struck some people the wrong way. It's like, how dare you? This man, let him rest in peace. But again, as I say, they did have the estate's permission, so it's not like they went behind anyone's back. It wasn't shady. And I think it came from a place of love, and I liked the final result.
I can't wait to see it so I can actually know, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they did the same thing with Princess Leia, where they de-aged her to 19. One commenter said that her eyes were the deadest thing in the film.
Oh,
it's like,
no.
wow.
See, it's a little creepy.
It is, because you do move into that uncanny valley territory where you're not quite sure what it is you're seeing, and you can't believe that it's there. I like why they did it, though. To me, if it comes from a story perspective, I'm about pushing visual effects. Now, when we have our visual effects guy in here, we'll have to talk to him about if he feels the same way. And his films, as I mentioned earlier, are great. So I really, really cannot wait to have Rich Thorne in here to talk to you guys about how to choose the right special effects for the story and then for the images that you have and resources.
How far is too far?
Exactly. Too much special effects? We don't know. I liked it. Obviously, different people have different opinions, but if you guys want to include your stuff in here, you can go ahead and tell us how you felt about Star Wars and maybe mention some of your other favorite faux pas special effects, because there are some great ones. We don't even have to mention the monster at the beginning of Star Wars, which is... It wasn't.
Oh,
it was really bad. But yeah, so that wraps up our special effects. If you have questions for Rich Thorne, please include them down here on YouTube, on iTunes, or tweet at us. Finally, I want to talk about the future of YouTube Red.
Yes.
If you're watching us here, you don't have to watch us on Red. We are free to everyone. But YouTube Red is a subscription service that YouTube has now. It's about $10 a month. And
similar to Hulu,
Netflix, Amazon, all of it. So they're trying to edge into that game. They're creating original content from YouTube YouTube creators. So this is really great for especially those kids, I think, now who are just graduating high school, who maybe are just beginning college, who've only kind of lived off of YouTube. I've talked to a lot of kids who are like, I don't even know what's on TV. I just watch YouTube.
Some of the YouTube stars out there are more popular than some of the A-list actors that
I actually
I know.
had a friend whose niece came up and she was like, what do you want to do while you're in Hollywood? Like, I'll take you anywhere. She's like, I just want to track down Vine stars. And she was like, who? What? Why?
Crazy, right? I was at a
Yeah.
convention once, and I forget who it was one of the young YouTube stars, and there were crowds of screaming teenagers running after them. It was insane.
There's a documentary on Netflix right now about people who use social media to start up catching somebody. Oh, I can't remember the name. But they're taking off and starting new networks of their own and now coming back to create original content for YouTube Red. Now, YouTube Red is having a difficult time getting itself off the ground. And we can just, they have 1.5 million paid subscribers now. And after a year, that's kind of low.
That
for
is low.
a website that's getting billions of views every day.
And how much is it? Do you know? $9.99, I think?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have an additional million subscribers that are trying the free trial right now.
A month or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So it'll be interesting to see going forward how they're able to attract people, if people want it. I know I haven't signed up for YouTube Red yet, but that's just because I'm not quite sure of what content I'll be getting.
Exactly. I was just about to say, like, what is on there? What kind of unique programming is on
Yeah.
there that I can't get anywhere else? Like, I need to be sold a little more.
Yeah, but I think that as the original content creators from YouTube age and advance in their craft, because, I mean, YouTube started off as a place for amateurs. Like, it started off as a place for you to just
Upload
throw
your
out-
home videos.
Exactly, your home videos, and then it became a place of like, oh, well, I make shorts. Here's a good place to get them in front of audience because it's so challenging to get distribution for a short. And that's what you have the money and the means to make. I mean, before iPhone started editing, like, if we're talking, 08 YouTube. And now, people run whole series on there. Issa Rae has moved from YouTube to HBO. So there's clearly a platform and a space for people to grow and develop. And I'm excited that YouTube's like, let's keep it in the family. Let's keep you here on YouTube where people are already coming. So I think that shortly, very short, like maybe as early as the middle of this year, they're going to see a swift uprising because I know some insider tips for you guys that they are really, really, really looking for content right now. The YouTube Red folks are out there.
Get on it, people. Submit to YouTube.
If you're in LA and you know any producer, they should be able to get, and you have scripts written and ready to go, you should be able to get them into YouTube Red. Not a problem. What they're hungry for content, really, and they want to improve and they want to get those audiences, and they know with the Amazon, Netflix, Hulu budgets and the stuff that they're creating. So it'll be interesting to see what they're able to produce. We're going to have Michael J. Gallagher in, who of course did The Thinning, which just came out for YouTube Red, and he loves the platform. The Thinning is a really fun movie. We did a screening at NIFA a couple weeks ago about basically what if instead of the ACT was a way to place you into college, it was a way to help with the mass population problem. Don't do good on your ACT.
God.
So long.
Bye-bye.
You can't have you on the planet. You're taking up space, and the idea and the
that's
pressure.
too funny.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great plate. Like that storyline is exactly what YouTube Red should be going for. I feel like this idea that they've got. You're reaching out to your high school or college folks. You're reaching out to kids that are stressed and anxious about these huge tests that they tell you is, your whole life depends on you getting these answers right. And
Right.
having someone who's young like Michael to come in and talk to them through film, through the magic of film, about like, you don't have to be stressed and you can fight back against this system. It's a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that we get more movies like that soon.
So are you saying YouTube Red is more for lighter comedy?
I'm saying YouTube Red should be for the youth. Like, the youth is who is supporting their content, and I think you need to make content driven for the... Whereas Hulu, we just saw Zelda. They've got, like, Amazon, we just saw Zelda, and they have The Tick coming out again. Like, Amazon seems to be focused more toward heavy dramas and...
Transgenders on there too, right? On Amazon. Okay.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Great.
So they've got heavy dramas, and then they've got, like, slapstick comedy. And they're kind of coming at those two angles, and they're producing like award-worthy content, period. I feel like Netflix is like, what do you got? Like, Black Mirror was great. We're sure the whole world will love it. And they were completely right, and it did great.
The OA recently.
Yes, which has very mixed reviews, but you know they're willing to try some different things, but they also have the money to back it up to do like these great big productions.
Right.
But I would like
so does YouTube though, right? Because it's owned by Google.
YouTube is owned by Google, but I think they would be smart to focus on the indie aspects because nobody really seems to be honing in on that. Like everybody's like, we want to look like polished network television, but I think what makes internet things great, like Vine, like YouTube, is this not necessarily a homemade aspect feel to it, but an indie, like, of the people kind of feel.
Of the people, exactly. Because YouTube is originally of the people, right?
Exactly. And I really feel like Michael has nailed it on that. I can't talk highly enough about him. He's kind of great.
Can't wait to have him in.
Yeah. I really feel strongly that if we can hone in on that indie feel that's kind of missing from a lot of other television shows, that they can just skyrocket, especially if we feel like we can keep talking to the creators, which for me is the best part about social media and YouTube, is I can talk directly to the people making the content.
Yep.
And it's also exciting because we have so much access to them, they get to teach us. Like when you talk to Michael, he just wants to tell you about like, here's how you get your product out. Here's how you do the next thing.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, no, and it's thrilling and it's exciting. So I think YouTube is going to do great things. Right now they're trying to expand. So they're in the US, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea.
Trying to go to UK.
Yeah, they're having a lot of issues with it apparently though, because most people do, I use YouTube as like a radio station. I'm like, let me put on my Beyonce music video playlist. Yep. Let me get prepared.
And the artists aren't getting paid as much as they should be.
Not even just the artists, but the record companies. And that's like, it's those guys that are really upset because, you know, for artists, it's like, whatever, they don't make a lot of money per song listen anyway. They make like pennies on the dollar. They make their money in touring. But for the music business, like this is where they make their money. Like when you play, we own the songs, we own the rights. So YouTube did pay $1 billion to the record companies last year in royalties and fees and things like that. But the companies came back and they're like, that's pennies to what we would get if the song played like on the radio station or on MTV or something like that.
Right. I mean, I wonder, because YouTube must be making a lot with every advertisement that plays before each and every one of these music videos. So they should be a little bit more...
I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. Like, I firmly believe that the music industry as we know it and have known it is on the way out. It's been moving toward a more independent thing with Chance the Rapper, who's like, I'm not signing on to any record label. Chance the Rapper is an independent artist and he's performed on SNL and he sells out stadiums. The more we use social media, the less we need overhead companies to distribute our music. We can use the internet.
Do it ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really feel like they're like, no, hold tight. Like we need it. And I don't blame YouTube for being like, look, people come to us and if we don't have to pay, we're not going to pay you more than we need to. So
these videos make hundreds and millions of hits. I mean, what was it? Psy, the Gangnam Style, over 1 billion hits.
That's crazy.
How much money was that?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how YouTube decides to push its content forward and where it will expand and if it has any more trouble producing your own content means you get to control all of it and keep every dollar. So I think that's really smart. But I hope they don't lose music videos. I hope there's no clashes there because I know.
One of my favorite things to do is just sit and watch music videos.
Yes.
It's the best thing ever.
It's a great learning tool. Look at all of this stuff. And beyond that, you know, I'm hoping that YouTube gets into like how-tos. Like, I don't know if you guys have been on, is it how.com? I think so. Where they give you really detailed descriptions on how to accomplish like specific goals, how to set up a thing.
How to change a diaper. I've seen, you know.
Yeah. So those videos, like, I mean, how to change a diaper might be simple, but like it would be great to see like a movie production from behind the scenes, start to finish, on YouTube Red one day.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Awesome.
Like really getting into these how-to aspects of things and then creating original content that is for the youth, and as their audience grows, hopefully grows with them. I just think there's so much potential here. A lot of people are already counting YouTube Red out. I am not one of them. I think that it's got a future. It's just going to take a while to build.
Right. It's got to catch on slowly. Slow burn.
And YouTube's patient. They're like, don't even worry about it. We're making money hand over fist. Google's got our back. It's going to be fine. So that's what we have coming up for you guys this month. We wanted to give you a little Hollywood background to it so you guys could ask your own questions. And so that you would know kind of where we were coming from and where we were going to start with our guests. So once again, for those of you guys who will hopefully come back and join us, we're going to have Michael J. Gallagher. We're going to have Rich Thorne and Bart Mastrodoni coming in this month to talk to us, give you guys little mini master classes on how to do adaptions, how to pick special effects for your film, and how to launch yourself on YouTube and build an audience from there. I've been Joelle Monique. You guys follow me everywhere at Joelle Monique. I'm all over the internet, everywhere. Come talk to me. Tell us how you feel. Make sure you comment here on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Yeah, it helps, let people know that you like what we're doing, and hopefully we can bring in more guests for you.
Absolutely. And I'm Pegah. Thanks so much for watching.
We'll see you guys next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Kristian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.